Okay, so what to expect, like I said earlier, you're going to gain more clarity. You're going to, do a you're going to gain a hands-on experience on some of the widely used tools like the Power BI and the Postgres. Just like I've mentioned, we are focusing on SQL and Power BI for this masterclass. All right, so um, for the Power BI aspect, you're going to learn how to create interactive dashboards. You're going to explore what Power BI can do for business intelligence, and then you're going to understand how to transform raw data into insights. And for the SQL, you're going to learn how to write SQL queries, and then you also gain experience on PostgreSQL. And then also understand how to work with data structures and also extract insights from them. Right. Okay, so your learning journey, like I mentioned earlier, it's going to be an interactive section you're going to be asked a lot of questions along the line. So get ready, it's going to be an interactive section. And then of course, I've mentioned that you're going to, apply what you have learned in real world, all the things you have learned, you're going to see them like, okay, so this is actually what we're talking about. So that's what you're going to get from this section. Okay, so I'm going to um go over the company overview, just a brief company overview, what Dayfigures is all about. All right, so Dayfigures is we are known for data analytics consulting. We consult for organizations. If you have organizations that you need clarity on what your data is all about, how you really want to gain clarity on what you're doing. You understand? So data analytics, we provide data analytics consulting to organizations. We also design websites for people, for organizations as well. We design professional websites for organizations and people as well. And then we also do individual and employee trainings. Organizations may want people to come and train for them. So Dayfigures will always be there to do trainings for your organizations, and then we also do trainings for individuals. So we actually focus on leveraging data to empower organizations to make informed decisions and achieve growth for organizations. And then what is our mission and our vision? We have our mission statement and our vision. And our mission is to empower organizations with comprehensive data analytics consulting, relationship management, web design, and employee training services. And our vision is to be the go-to partner for individuals and organizations seeking to harness the power of data analytics. So like I mentioned earlier, our services, we do analytics consulting for organizations. We offer comprehensive consulting, that's data analytics consulting services, to help businesses understand their data, help businesses grow their businesses and understand what the data is about. And then for employee and individual trainings, we have trainers, certified trainers that train individuals and employees to equip them with skills that they need to drive innovations in their organizations, and then even individuals as well. And then for professional website designs, we also design professional website designs that are tailored to your business requirements and your target audience. Okay, so let's just even talk about what this data analytics, what is the importance of data analytics, why data analytics, why is it important? Okay, so data growth, we have every single day the world produces informations, data. Every single day data is out there, informations are out there, and as this grow, so does the demand for people that needs to make sense of them. And that's exactly what this masterclass is here to help you do. As the world grow, more informations are out there. People are gathering the informations, and that information is what we call data. And then just like as it grow, it needs more people to, make sense out of it, because it's possible you have data, but you can't really understand what it's about. You can't really make sense out of it. So as the world grow, more people are also needed, to make sense out of this data. And that is why we are here to, give you that clarity that you need to make sense out of your data. And then data analytics also enable business to move from guesswork to data-driven strategies. Imagine when you, as an organization or even as an individual, and then you're trying to figure out something, you don't even know, okay, how many sales have I made this year? How many sales have I made last year? Or how many sales have I made this month? But with the help of data analytics, you're moving away from the guesswork, and then you're able to say, oh, I've been able to make 10 sales this year. You're able to, call what it is. So that is what data analytics is about. And then the job market trend. So the demand for data professional has skyrocketed in recent years. And according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, employment of data analysts is projected to grow by 25% from 2020 to 2030. So you can imagine that. So you see, it's really a great place to be, and it's really a good skills that you can learn and revision. All right, so let's move on. So learning paths. For our normal trainings, we have this learning paths that we usually, use to train our individuals or employees or whoever we want to do trainings with. So we take them through the Microsoft Excel. We take them through the Microsoft Excel, both the basics and the advanced. And then we also do SQL and then Power BI. So that's how our learning paths looks like. And then if for this master class, or if you're going to be, going into this data analytics, these are some of the requirements you need for you to be able to do some things with your laptops and go into data analytics proper. You'll be needing some of these: your laptop, which is at least 8 gig RAM, then 256 gig SSD. Internet access is also very important. You'll be needing softwares like Microsoft Excel, Power BI, PostgreSQL. But in this masterclass, you'll be needing Power BI and PostgreSQL. Anytime, and then your problem solving activity. And I must also add that you also need, that's problem solving, and then paying attention to details. Yeah. All right. Okay, so we're excited to see your growth. We're excited to have you here, just like I've mentioned earlier, and to help you unlock the potentials of data. So I would say you should make this opportunity a great one for you. So let's work together to achieve your goals in data analytics. It's going to be a brief one. Okay, so here are some of the certificates of past students. We have trained a lot of students. So these are some of the certificates of our past students. And then, okay, yeah. We also like you to hear from one of our students who has interned with, has done a data analytics training with us as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Chikofute Oroma. I am a microbiologist, vector assistant, and currently I'm undergoing a program of Day Figures on data analysis. I would say I joined Day Figures because I wanted to expand my skill sets, and I also wanted to dive deeper in data analysis, bridging the gap between science and data in the health sector. I've learned how to clean, visualize, analyze data using tools such as Excel, SQL, and Power BI. And I'm saying it's very interesting knowing that you can use data to tell the story. And yes, I recommend Day Figures to anyone anytime, because if you're looking into transitioning into data analysis, Day Figures is the best organization to do that, because they'll strengthen you, giving the right tools and sense you on the path of the people in data analysis. Thank you very much.
All right. So, I, sorry, please. Trying to. All right. So that's all for the introduction. The introductory parts. We're going to be diving into the training proper right now, and just let me mention at the end of this training, those that are able to, follow through and get to the end of this training, provide them, send their dashboards, their final dashboards. We have gifts for you. So, but we'll have gifts for you, like you be opportune to, join our next boot camp for free, or we can intern with us for free as well. So just stay tuned, and then let the training start immediately. All right.
Uh, Hello everyone, can you hear me? Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, okay? All right. Hi, Martins. All right, thank you so much. Yeah, it's good to connect with everyone again. And okay, just give me like a couple of seconds. Let me share my screen. I'll just share my entire screen basically. Okay, so yeah, just give me a second. All right, so you're welcome to tonight's session basically, where we're not going to waste so much of our time. We're just going to start. As you know, this particular bootcamp, masterclass now is divided into two sessions. Okay, so we have the first session in class today, where we're going to be walking around SQL queries. That is, we're going to look at data, how to query your data from your databases, and then what to expect basically when you're working with data that is hosted on a database server. Uh, so- all right, so let me just turn on my video so you can see who you're talking to. Okay, so this is Leslie on the line, and I'm going to be your instructor for this evening session. And so at least I know, of course, some of us, we already know ourselves. But for most of you that do not know me, my name is Leslie. I'm a Microsoft certified data analyst and also a trainer, also a co-founder of Day Figures Consult. And primarily, I am, sort of like the lead trainer here, basically. So I'm going to take you through this module. And for me, I'm not going to waste so much time right here, so I'm just going to delve right into the course. Okay, great. So tonight we are looking at something very profound, which is working with data in databases. Now, if you have worked as a data analyst, most of the times the challenge always rests in SQL. A lot of people run away from SQL. A lot of people prefer Power BI, where you can build fine dashboards. And a lot of people run away from Python programming. But basically, a lot of people run away from programming. That's just what I've come to observe over a period of time. But you see, when it comes to programming in quotes, right? It gives you that flexibility to be able to handle data in a way that some of these platforms do not. So Excel, for instance, most of what you do when you're working on SQL, is you in a group by, for instance, is what you oftentimes refer to as pivot table in Excel. So if you have an understanding of how to manipulate data within systems, learning SQL is going to help you so much. And today, we're going to be working on a particular database called classic models. Of course, this is an open source data. You can find it online if you go, but most of what you might see are tilted towards MySQL. All right, but what we have done was to modify the database so we can use it in a relational database management system like PostgreSQL, and then we're going to query our data. So before I delve into the training proper or the class proper, I want you to understand the architecture that we're using. All right. So we are currently working on, sorry, let me close this. So we're currently working on a database known as PostgreSQL. All right. So PostgreSQL is a relational database management system. So, well, I like to write. So let me open, this, and I'm going to write on it. Okay. So PostgreSQL is what you refer to as a um, relational, that is RDBMS. Okay, so is what you refer to as a relational database management system. The differentiating factor here is the fact that there is this R in front of it, which is relational. Otherwise, you would have just a database management system. Now, when does anybody know the difference between a relational database management system and just a database management system? Can anyone tell me? So I like our class to be interactive, okay? So that at least it encourages me to go on. Anyone? Okay. All right. So no one. Now, what you refer to as an RDBMS. Okay. Did someone unmute their mic?
Yes, sir. Relational
Okay.
database management system shows the relationship between the database, but um, this is database management system
Yeah.
shows only the data.
Okay.
So did you hear
Okay.
what I said?
Yeah. So you said it shows only the data.
Why the RDBMS shows the relationship between the database.
Okay. Okay. That's fine. That's good. Any other person? Any other person? Any other person? Okay. Fine. What you refer to as a database management system, right, is is a software actually, right? So this entire um, aspect of whatsoever you have here now, it's actually referred to as a software. So this software allows you to create, it allows you to manage, so create data basically. Uh, Not just data, but data within databases. So it can allow you create databases. If it can allow you create data within the database, so it can allow you create databases. It can allow you interact with databases. So what happens is most of these database management systems have what we refer to as a client tool and a server side that allows, so the client tool is the interface now that allows you, who is the user, that is me and you, to be able to interact with the database that is hosted on a server. So this is what I mean. So you have you, the user, right? I want to interact with data. I want to interact with this table. Okay, so this table, and where is this table hosted? This table is hosted in my database. Okay, so it is hosted in my database now, but I need an application to be able to access this database. Okay, so this application which allows me interact with this data that is in here. Okay, so this data is inside this database. This application that allows me interact with this database is what we now refer to as the management system. Okay, now the relational in this case now refers to a a management or a database management system that holds relational data. So what we mean is it holds tables. So you have this table, for instance, that is connected to this table that is also connected to another table. Okay, so you have a group of tables that are related. Now, and how do those relationships exist? They exist through what we refer to as the keys, primary key and foreign keys. Okay, so that is the architecture of what we are working with, which is what a lot of organizations will use. However, as a data analyst, you don't always. So if you're working in an organization where they do not have like a database management team or data engineers, you are the one that will go into most of the servers. That is access the databases now. So it's either a either you create it or you access an already created database. Now, so all these things like this database now is hosted on a server. Okay, so in our case now, our system, which is this PC, right, that I'm currently using, for instance, serves as my server. All right. So what it means is that this database is hosted locally on my system. So my system is serving as the server. And for me to be able to connect to this relational database, that's this database now, I need a client tool, IENT, right? So I need a client tool now, and that is what we are going to see. So I need a client to me that allows me connect to this database, which is hosted on my server that contains all these tables that are connected to each other through primary and foreign keys. Okay, do we get this explanation at this point? Please, I need feedbacks. Did you get this explanation? All right, so just more confirmations. Did we get that explanation? Can I call names? Okay, all right. So basically, please, did you get the explanation? If you didn't, I'm going to go past this, okay? All right. So now that we've established all of these things and we have a client too, the next thing we have to realize is that we can connect, the client tool now can either be a GUI, which is what we refer to as a graphical user interface, or a terminal window or a terminal line. Okay. So in our case now, every relational database has both the GUI and a terminal line. Okay. And in our case, the terminal line we're using is called PSQL. PSQL While for the graphical user interface, it is called pgadmin 4. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So that's why they say graphical. So it's graphical because it has lots of graphical uh representations, and while for the terminal line is just a black line, a black screen rather, where you just have things represented there and all of that. So that's basically what we are using tonight. So we're going to be interchanging between the graphical user interface and the terminal line. All right, so that is what you have here. Sorry, that's what you have here. So the GUI in our case is called pgadmin 4, which is the GUI for Postgres, while the admin 4, the terminal line, is called PSQL. So for now, Postgres is the database that we are using, right? Or the RDBMS. We have others like Oracle, for instance. The terminal line for Oracle is called uh, SQL Plus, while the GUI is called Developer. The terminal line for Microsoft is, I can't remember what that is called, but the GUI is called Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. So you have that. The terminal line, I think SQL Plus 2, MySQL uses it. Then for the GUI, it's you can have SQL Workbench. So these are the different ways, or different types rather, of both the client tool and the terminal line or windows, right, for relational databases. Now today we're going to be focused on classic models, and for us to understand this database we have to understand the tables that it contains. First of all, classic classic models contain about uh whose mic is unmuted. Angie, do you have any question? Ni Gina, do you have any question? Okay. All right. So now let's go back to um our our slides. The main tables in our classic model database are customers table. So we have the customers table, which stores customer information. We have the orders table, stores sales orders. We have the order details, products, uh, product lines, employees, offices, as well as payments. As a good data analyst, it's always good to it is best practice to always have your schema and your metadata properly defined, because if you are trying to troubleshoot or you need any information, the table to quickly get to. So this is like our, in quotes, in some relational models they'll call it metadata, but here we call them tables, in our database. Okay, now these are the kind of relationships that exist between these tables, right? Remember I said we're working with an RDBMS, that is Relational Database Management System, right? So it means that we have tables that are interconnected, that are related to one another. So we have the product lines related to the products in a one-to-many relationships. And who can give us the types of relationships we have in relational models? Or let's say data, relational data, or relational models. Who can give us the types of relationships we have? Anyone? So we have 4 types of relationships. Okay, we have the one-to-one relationship, We have the one-to-many relationship. We have the many-to-one relationship, which is like the inverse of one-to-many. And then we have the many-to-many relationships. All right. So you can carry out, more research on these kinds of on the four types of relationships that exist. It will give you a better understanding on how uh, data or relational data actually exists within the models. So you have the product lines connecting to product in a one-to-many, and these are the relationships that exist amongst all the tables. All right. So um, before I move to get into the codes, we're going to look at this. So all right. So let me stop share my screen so you can focus on the right. Okay. All right. So let's focus on this screen now. Right. So first of all, we have our PG admin 4. So you just open it by, going to your start menu if you have it on your PC. Otherwise, right, you might have to install it. So let me just quickly share the link with us for those of us that may not have that application. So you can use PostgreSQL download. You go to your downloads. So use this link to download the database application. If you have a MacBook or a Mac OS, you can use that. If you have a Windows, you use this. If you have a Linux, you use this one. All right. So that's how you walk around that. Now, let's go to our PG admin 4. I go to my start menu, I type in PG admin 4 after installation. Okay. And so just to also note, uh, the team is going to drop an installation guide for those of us that may not have this software on the chat, right? So if you are not part of that community, please kindly drop your number, and then someone is going to add you up in that community. All right. Now we have this pgadmin 4 as a graphical user interface for Postgres. Okay, and the database that I'm working with today is called Classic Models. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete this. Okay. So I'm deleting my classic models right here so that I can take you through the process of installing it. So it says that I have a session of it running. So let me close this session. So I'm not going to save this. So if I go to my download just before I delete it, let me confirm that I have the database in there. So let me see, classic. Okay, so I have a database called Classic Models here. Okay. All right, so let me confirm that. So let me open this. And also, the team is going to share a link that contains the database file with you. So you can just pick it up from there. All these files that I'm working with right now, you pick it up from there, and then you're going to have it, in there. So let's try and follow through on that. Please ensure that we have the links, so everyone can have it. All right. Now, this is what our database looks like. This class is not for training us on how to write SQL scripts, right? But this is what the SQL script looks like. First of all, we are dropping the database, and then we're going to create it. and then we're gonna connect to it. All right. Now, but because you are you're working with an SQL or on an SQL script, basically, you can just run this script. So this is quite different from databases that you may be used to. So a database, for instance, like your DVD rental, which is something that if you worked on Postgres, everybody should have come across this database at some point in their learning journey, right? So if you have this, for instance, this is already a database that was what's the word, they have a word for it, right? That was backed up, right? So the database was backed up and then uh extracted in a format that you can come back to another Postgres relational database and restore. However, what we are working with here, as you can see in my code editor, is a script. So a script has the extension .sql most of the time. And once you open it, so you can also, if you don't have VS Code, you can open with your notepad as well. But I doubt, it's quite heavy. So um, I don't know how quickly that will open. So, so have this. Now, this is our script and we're going to run this script, right? So there are two ways, right? Simple ways. If I come to I'm going to go to my start menu and type PSQL. Okay, so that is open my SQL shell. Now, if you're working with Postgres, like I said, this is your terminal line. So first of all, it's asking me or it's prompting that am I connected to the server? So I'll press enter. Now, once I press enter in here, so it shows that I'm connected to the server. Now it's connecting to the database called Postgres, and I'm going to press enter again. Excuse me. So here it's connecting to the port number. That's the default port during installation, and I'll press enter. Now it's prompting for a username. I don't have a separate username. Otherwise, I would have typed one there, but I just want to use the default one, which is Postgres, and I'll press enter. Now it's going to ask me for the password, which I use during installation. My password, I'll just put it in there, even though it's not showing, but as long as you typed it correctly, it'll work. Now I'm connected into my Postgres server. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is now, based on your level of permissions, by the time you begin to work with databases, so what I'm going to do here, let me expand this and I'm going to increase my screen, okay, so everyone can see. Now, I have what is showing me right now is that I'm connected into the database called Postgres, which is actually like the root database, or in Oracle terms called the container database. Now, what I'm going to say here is I want to list all the databases that are connected, that are currently hosted or housed in my Postgres server. Okay, so I do that by using the command /L. Now, once I do that, I see all the list of databases that I have, which is the same thing that the graphical user interface shows to me here as well. So I have them listed there. Now, however, I do not have classic models, and I want to bring classic models in, but classic models is a script, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, come here and I'm going to use my / and I. So I is to run a script or a file. Okay, if I come here to my downloads, copy the classic models DB, I'll click on it rather, and then if I go to my copy, I'm going to choose, or to my home tab, I'm going to select copy path. Okay, so I'll just copy the path and I'm going to paste it in there. Now, the limitation with Postgres, except you are using the MacBook, that might allow you to run it with a forward a backward slash. But here, what you can do is you have to just make a little modification. Okay. So what you're going to do is, you are not, in this case now, you are not running it the way you would normally. So what you're going to do is, you're going to change this. So I have my backward slash as one. I'm going to add another here. I'm going to add another. So wherever I have a backward slash, I'm just going to add another backward slash there. So that way I have permitted it to execute my file. So I'll just, that done. I'm going to click enter. So it's saying my permission is denied. Okay, so okay, so let's try another way. And here. Okay, so it says classic models database does not exist. So what we're going to do is, I need to check that query. So my first says drop the database and then create the database. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so let's try it one more time. Oh, let me try another method. Okay, so I'll go to my command prompt and I'm going to command connect to, so I'll say change directory and and this is even a longer route. So this is a longer route, but anyway, let's still try it. So if I go to my I'll go to my C drive. Let's see. So I'm not sure why I'm having that error here, but let's see. So I'll go to my Postgres, I'll go to my binary path, I'll copy this. And if I change directory one more time and paste it here. So I'm connected in there. So I'm going to execute my file. So if I execute my file, then what do I get? So let's see. So I'll come to my file, copy the path. Let's go to downloads. Okay. I'll copy my path. Then when I do, I'll come to this part and I'm going to paste it basically. So if I come here, change this inverted commas to a single comma, and I'm going to say here, if I run this without the script, what do I get basically? Okay. 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 So that didn't work. Let me use this again. So I'm going to close this and I'm going to open it one more time. So PSQL. Yeah. So stuffs like this happen. So I'm going to connect to my Postgres. Okay, and then I'm going to say and then I'll come here and copy my file path. So if I copy the path again, I'll come here and paste it, and I'm gonna take out so if I take out, I'll just use this basically, double slashes and double slash here again, and then I have another double slash here again. So yeah, once that is done, all I need to do is, okay, so let me take this, make this single, no such file directory. Okay. No. So this is a strange error I'm getting, but I'm just looking at this. Let me try it again. So that directory doesn't exist. So if I take it away from my downloads, let me take it away from there and hold on. Let me put it in my temporary folder on my, sorry, a local disk C, have it in my temp folder. Where are you? Do I have a classic model here? So I don't have a classic model here. Okay. Okay, great. So let me close this. I'll try it one more time, okay? So I'm not sure why it's giving this error that is not finding this, but of course it exists. So I'm not sure why it's not finding it. So just hold on. So these are things that we will troubleshoot and try to know again what's the problem. So let me go back to my downloads. If I go back to my downloads, copy my classic model database again, copy the path, come back here. Come back here and I put my, so if I do this one more time, user, user, user. Okay, you know what, guys? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to execute this. I'm going to take this like this, okay, up until this part. Okay, this is not good. I need to figure out what the problem is. All right, just hold on. So, okay, so this is a problem. I didn't have this for a moment. I don't know why it's showing. So let me see. Classic model. So you see it's actually misbehaving. So let's see if there are any tables inside. So it doesn't have any table. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop a database called classic models and execute it. So drop any database, drop database, classic models, and execute. Okay, so it says I'm currently using it. Am I using it here? I don't have a database open here. Okay. Okay, think it's just an error on Postgre. So I've deleted it from here. Let me go back. I'm going to close every instance of what I have, okay? So I'll close every instance of this. Open just PSQL. That's my SQL shell. Connect in there. And then, oh goodness, sorry, not Python. So PSQL. So I'm going to connect here. And then I'm going to list all the databases I have. So I have a classic models here. Now for the classic models, I'm going to drop the database called classic models. Okay, so if I run this query again, I don't have it there anymore. Okay, so come back here and run my script. Come back to my downloads, copy as path, paste it. So I'm going to take this one more step, one more step, one more step, and execute. Okay. Okay. Really, you see, if you ask me what happened, I'm not sure I have the answer to that question, but you see, it's the same thing we did, and so it has worked. So you can see from the queries here that I think it was just it didn't propagate properly. That's why it was half baked. So you have here that it first of all created a database. Of course, first it will drop if there is any existing, but there was none existing, so it says it doesn't exist, right? So it didn't drop. So it created a database. After creating, it then connected to the classic models database. So if you observe, at this point, you are seeing classic models, meaning you are connected. So it told us here that you are connected to classic models as Postgres. Okay, so after that, it tried to initiate a drop table sequence, but there were no tables already created. So it skipped all of that and then started creating the tables. So after creating the tables, it began to insert the records into the tables. So it inserted all the records. So if we go now to classic models, which we are connected, and use a /DT, that is to display tables, you'll see the list of relations, meaning list of tables that are related to each other. So if I go back to my slide, you will see all these tables that I've mentioned, that they are related to one another, okay? And you can see them here. There are about 8 of them. Now, if you want to see the entity relationship diagram for this, you will go to your PG. So let me open my PG admin 4 again. So PG admin 4, I'm going to open it. So while that is opening, we're going to start. Okay, so first we're just going to delve into writing practical SQL queries. Okay, now the reason why we're actually looking at it from this perspective is because by the time you start working, so please just confirm that you can hear me. Can someone unmute their mic and confirm they can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, great. Okay, so the reason why you have to know most of these techniques is because a lot of times you'll be interacting with business requirements, or yeah, business requirements basically, and these business requirements can exist across different maybe departments or stakeholders, as the case may be. So what will happen is, based on the tables that we have, we're going to execute some queries based on some of the insights we can get from the relational database that we have. So we have a customer's data. We have a customer's data. We have an employee's data. For instance, we have We have offices, we have other details, we have others, just like that, right? So the first business requirements is for us to, so let me see if this is open. Okay, good. This is open. This is a better interface where you can at least see what we're doing. So classic models, I'm going to right click and then I click on query tool, and I'm going to have like a script for this particular class. Okay, so let's call this SQL Masterclass Day1. Okay, now in SQL, when you want to comment, you use the dash dash, or if you want to write an inline comment, that is a comment that would exist in multiple lines, you can use the backward slash and you know uh asterisk asterisk, okay, like this, right? So what are we going to be looking at? Basically, we're going to be looking at let's answer some of these questions. Okay, so the first question here is who are the top 5 customers, you know who are the top 5 customers by total payments made, meaning based on the payments that have been made, who are your top 5 customers? Okay, so this is the first question. Let's answer this. All right. So based on this question, you have to, so I'll expand my schemas, right? So this is the database I'm working with. I expand it. And then if I want to see my tables, I expand my schema, I expand public, and I expand tables. All right. So if you're asked with a business case question like this, that who are the top 5 customers based on the total payments that were made, right? So you have to understand the data first before you can even know how to answer this question. First of all, we're looking at classic models. Okay, so and what is this database about? So it's actually a sample relational database uh, that represents the operations of a financial company that sells die-cast scale models of classic cars to customers around the world. So, all those classic cars now, the cars you call classic, like, I don't know, I think Beetle maybe will be one of them now, if but classic old cars basically that, were like the main thing in their time, right? So, but, but we're looking at the uh, financial operations now of this particular company. So based on that, we want to know who the top 5 customers, by the payments that they have made are. And for us to be able to know that, we have to realize the tables that we are working with, basically. So we'll be working with the customer table as well as the payments table. Okay. I believe so, because we're looking at payments. So let's look at customers table first. In SQL, you select, all. So from customer. So in this case now, what I'm doing is trying to explore the customers table to see the information within the table. Okay. This may not be like the best, scenario in terms of querying your data, right? But because it produces a lot of columns, or a lot of rows or columns that are returned. But when, so in real life scenario, if you are working, let's say if you are building an application and you have to write an SQL code for that particular part of side of the application, you wouldn't want to be using a statement like select all from, or even if you're using a select all from, you have to introduce like a conditional, statement. But in this case now, we just want to view everything inside of the tables. So, we are at liberty to select all from. So what we want to select is all from our customers table. Now, this will give us the information regarding the customers, the number, the first name, you have the last name, as well as the phone number and other additional details. Now, as well as the credit limit for that customer. and the states that they belong, the postal code. Let's see. Yeah, so this is for customers. Now let's select for payments. Now if we select for payments, is there an S? Yes, there's an S. All right, so now it uses the customer number. So if you come to, let me just put it at my scratch pad here, that I'm going to use my customers table as well as my payments table. Now my payment table, what is the primary key here? What's the primary key here? Anyone? Come on guys, what's the primary key here?
Customer number.
And check number. You are
Yes, and check
correct. Yes.
number.
Yes. So it's even clearly stated here. PK. So the thing is, you can have, of course, you can have multiple primary keys. So you can have one, but ideally, the reason why this alone would not have served as a primary key is because there is a general rule that your primary key should be a unique column. But the reason why we're able to have two primary keys here with one having repetitions, if you observe, this has unique values. So you can have, so like a 103, for instance, doesn't have the same check number as the next one, right? So it's safe to say we can use this as our primary keys in this case. But always bear in mind that your primary key column always consists of a unique set of rules. Now, so we're going to use in this. So for what we want to do, we're looking at customers, right? We're going to use our customer number here. Well, we have our customer number here, which helps us identify. So let's just put both of them. Okay, these are the what's it called? The primary identifiers of this table. So check number. All right. So if I go back to customers here and I query this data, so I'm gonna have so for customer, I have customer number here. Number. All right. So this is the primary identifier. So you can have two customers having the same customer number. Now, the question says, who are the top 5 customers by total payments made? So we've established that the columns, the tables we need to answer both this question lies in 2 tables, or the prerequisite, right, to answer both questions is to understand that our data lies in 2 tables. One table holds the customer information, the other table holds the amount, which is because we're looking at total payments. All right, so I'm going to begin constructing my query. So here I want to see the customer number. Okay, so I've not really determined which table I'm taking my customer number from, but I'm going to see it here. And also I want to see the customer name. Okay. So if I come here, so this is customer name, right? So I want to see the customer name. All right. And what do I want? Now, this is from my customers table. Okay. So if I select, let's say I select all from payments, what do I want to see in payments? So I want to see the amount. Okay. So let's just include the dates too. Well, no, date won't work. Let's leave that out for now. So let's look at amount. Okay. Yeah. So let's look at amount, but this time, because we are looking at amount on an aggregated basis, you have different. So for instance, if you had gone to let's query customer again, so you see. Okay, look at payments, for instance. You have customer 1, 2, 3 making different payments. Okay, so if we want to get the total payments made by this customer 103, right? What are we going to do on the amount side? If we want to get the total amount made by customer ID 103, what are we going to do? How are we going to get it here? Anyone? Anyone? We'll add it. It's as simple as that. So we're summing the amount. Okay. So we're summing amount and we're going to call this. So an as is an alias in SQL. We'll call this total payments. Okay. So that's total payments. Now, whenever you're using an aggregation function, you always use, a group by. So we're selecting this first from, let's say, our customers table. And then we're going to group it by. What are we grouping by? We're going to group by both parameters, okay? Because those are the basis for which we want to see the total payments. Now, if we execute this query like this at this point, we will have something, that gives us an idea of what the table can look like. So if we execute this, sorry. So it says customer with an S. Okay, so if we execute this, so it says okay, now you guys, so one more thing, we are not taking all of this information from one table because amount is coming from payments table. So what does that mean? It means we need to join the payments table as well. Now, once we join payments, what are we going to use as the primary connector with the payment table? We'll use what they have in common, which is the customer number here that connects to the customer number there. So let's say customer number. Now, if that happens, then let us run this again. So because it says column amount doesn't exist, of course, it doesn't exist in a customer's table. Now, one more thing, it will give us one more error. Now, it says that relation payment does not exist, right? So payment with an S, okay? So let's run this again. So it gives us our what we want to see basically. Now, this has answered the question to an extent, right? But it's not answering everything because they are what we're asked is the top 5 customers, right? By the total payments made. So we've gotten the total payments made and the customers. So what do we need to do? We need to order this information by what? Who knows? Who knows? Anybody? We're going to order it by the total payments. Okay. So if we order this by the total payments, so you see that it starts from ascending to descending. But what we want to see is from descending to ascending. So we're going to state it there, DESC. Now, what we've seen is we've seen that this Euro shopping channel, has the highest total payment. Now, once that is done, you can then limit 5. Okay, so once you do that and probably put your semicolon, which is the standard SQL practice, right, to end your script, you have only 5 records. So you see it here, we have the 5 payments made. All right. So good thing, on this particular RDBMS, you can also do a little visual if you want to see. So let's say on the x-axis, we want to see the, say maybe customer name, and then on this one, see the total payment. So if we generate it, we're going to have something like this. Okay. So this particular customer has the highest, right? So, but if you want to swap it the other way around to say maybe total payments. Let's say customer, no. So this is ideal actually. So let's use total payments here and sorry, customer name here and total payments. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to change this to a bar chart. Yeah. All right. So you can see now that these guys, which is the Euro shopping channel, they have the highest form of payment, right? When compared to this Dragon Souvenirs Limited. All right. So this answers your question. You can download this and save it as your answer for question one. Okay. So, well, maybe I'll just quickly, okay. So I think I created, yeah, just keep it anywhere basically. So, let's say Q1. I'll arrange it, yeah. So that answers question one. Now, if we go next, so I'm not going to answer all the questions, right? So that's the essence of having this interaction. So I'm going to leave. So let me just answer this because we really want to keep to time here. So I've answered one from there. Let me pick anyone from here. So what is the distribution of customers by country and city? Which country generates the highest total? Okay, this is easy. How many others have been shipped from each office location? This is easy. Which office handles the highest number of customers? This is easy. This one looks like this is easy. In fact, all of them are actually easy, but I'm just looking for something that might prove a little difficult. But apparently, all of them are very easy there. So yeah. So let's look at this second question. So this is Q2. Let's say Q2. So how did we start this? So we said Q1. Let's put Q1 here. Sorry, just give me a second. All right. So yeah, please confirm that you can hear me okay. Please can you confirm you can hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. So what is the distribution of customers by country and city? Now, if we look at first of all, we've already looked at our customers, so we have an idea of what the customers table look like. So let me select all from and customers, then S. All right. So if I execute this, uh, now we see customers, we see their city, and we see, do we have a country? And we see their country. All right. So in an event where you have a data like this, so mostly this is a situation where you want to see sort of like a geographic data, okay, or yeah, a geographic data, especially maybe when you're carrying out market surveys or market research. So in a situation like this, you would want to know where bulk of your customers are coming from and maybe the city, the country, and how you can channel marketing efforts towards those locations. So this would help us answer such a question. So the distribution of customers by countries and city. So first of all, this is our customers table. We're going to select, so what do we need right now from this, from based on the question, what do we need? We want to see the cities, so want to see the countries and want to see the cities. Okay, now this is what we refer to as hierarchical data or hierarchical data, hierarchy, right? So you have a country at the top and you have the city below, right? So that is based on hierarchy. So if you've worked with data before, you'll be able to, if you've worked with hierarchical data before, then you would understand what I mean. So an example is you can have year being the highest in the hierarchy, followed by months, followed by quarter, followed by months, and then followed by days, right? So those are hierarchies as the case may be. Now, in this case, we're going to select from our country. So it is country with a singular country and a comma, and then select city. Now, because we're selecting both columns, we want to aggregate. So we're going to count. What are we counting? We can count all, right? Count all. Now, and I can call this as maybe my count or customer count underscore count, right? So if I do that, so I select country and then city, and then I'm going to count. So I'm counting everything under each country, each city as customer count, and I'm selecting it from where am I selecting this from? From customers, right? So this also, comes like this. So with a comma here, from customers with an S, right? Now, because I'm using an aggregated function, I have to group by. So this is like pivot tables in Excel, right? If you remember Excel. So I'm grouping by country and city. And then I'm going to order by. I'm going to order by this customer count. Okay. Now, if I select this, I have it. So let's look at in a descending order. So I have that Spain, particularly Madrid, right? So if I do this, it gives me the total number. But now, how often? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to order by this, by everything. Okay. So let me bring both of this. Okay. So you see how it will appear. All right. So if I run this again, now good. So this is how it appears. So Argentina is going to be the first. Okay, so Argentina is just one, but Australia, let's look at Australia that has multiple Australias, right? So Australia, now the highest in Australia happens first, but in this case now, so A is going to order by A and then by the highest alphabet or yeah, that's from A to Z basically. So from A to Z here, C is like the first, an S here. And then here it also looks, but we don't have, I think what we have is 1 there. Let's look at a Canada, for instance. So Canada, yeah. So this is for Canada. It starts first with a C and then starts with M. And then based on this, this is how this follows, okay? Because this is tied to this, okay? But this is generic. That's why. So this is what you have there, right? You have that particular information. Is there any question here? Any question here? Okay, so let's go to our slide. We've looked at sales and geography. Let's look at one more thing, maybe a time-based. Good. So very, very beautiful. Time intelligence functions, okay? And by the time, because tomorrow we're going to be visualizing most of this data in Power BI. So you can stick around. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect to our database so you can see how Power BI, utilizes the connectors as well as the uh, platforms, right, to connect to different data sources and source data, within it. So let's look at some time or time intelligence analysis or time-based trends, right? So what is the monthly trend of payments made in 2022? How many orders were placed in each quarter? What's the average time between order and shipping per status? What is the average volume trend over the past year? Which one do you guys think we should answer? Quick, I need someone to just quickly tell me, okay? Guys, let's be responsive. Anybody? Okay. But just to confirm that you people can hear me, I hope I'm not talking to myself. Okay. All right. So yeah. Okay. So let's look at this one. How many orders were placed each quarter? So this is Q3. How many orders were placed each quarter? Now, very, very key, because we need to be able to know. Okay, so first of all, let's look at our orders table. Select all from orders. Uh, Now, if we select all from others, so we have the order dates to be able to guide us based on the orders that came in within that particular period. And then we can then count, I think, yeah, we can count the number of orders within that dates. Yes. So if we do that, then we'll be able to get the quarter from the year. Postgres, I think. Yeah. So let's just come up with something basically. Let's see. So we're going to select, what are we selecting, right? So we're going to select something very key here. First of all, let's select the order date. Let me see, order dates. Now if we select order dates, so the question says how many orders were placed in each quarter. So let's select order date, comma. Now if we select the order date, so what they want to see is the quarterly sales, not just the dates alone, but we're going to break it down. But before we do, let's look at the orders placed. So count, we're going to count. What are we counting? We're counting everything basically. So orders. So you can either count all or count order number, just, if you want to be more specific, right? So you can say order number, right? As. So you can say orders placed, okay? Right, so orders that were placed within that particular quarter. So let's say from orders group by, yeah, we're grouping by the order dates. So if we group by the order date, then we have this. Hope this one's okay. So let's order this by order dates by orders placed. Okay. Now, these were orders. Okay. So this gives us on a day basis. Okay. Now, if this gives us on a day basis, for us to be able to get on an on a quarterly basis, we need to extract. So what are we extracting? Extract, open the bracket, quarter. Extract quarter from order date. So if we do that, let's call this as quarter. And run this. Okay. So what we're going to do is let's add something. So let's concat. Okay. Concat Q, the word Q. Okay. So want to concat Q, comma, and this extract. So if we concat that, I think we're going to have, okay, so Q, let's put a dash like this, like say Q4 something, like this. If we run this, yeah. So now we have quarter, or we can call this quarter if, so we use concat to add the text quarter to this. So we've gotten quarter because how do we know if we add other dates here, right? So what it means is we're going to group by. So your group by, your group by as an aggregate function doesn't work. You won't use an alias at this point yet because in terms of the order of execution of your queries, Postgres starts from, so you have where, but where is not here. Then you have the thing group by having before you even have select. So an alias at this point doesn't mean that it will work here. So if we execute this, right? So let's just test our query. So December, this is December 2nd, right? I think. Yeah, December 2nd. December is fourth quarter now. So this is December 2nd. Let's look for, so this is January, February, March, April, May. May is the 5th month. So that's second quarter. That's Q2, right? So it's correct. Let's look for one more. So this is February, 10th of February. Yeah, that's Q1. All right, great. So our query is working. It's fine. So what we want is, they said that we should find how many orders were placed in each quarter. They're not interested in this order date. All right. So this is what the interest is on. So take away order date and leave this, right? And if we execute our query here again now, yeah, so let's order by quarter. By quarter. All right. So we have Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4, with Q4 being our highest quarter of orders being placed. Is that clear? You all understand how I did this, right? No one is answering. Okay. All right. So that being said, let's look at one more. Okay, so one more from the other one, right? So basically what I just did was I had to, try to at least answer questions based on what you basically typically would use in a regular, SQL query. So you have what we refer to as Windows functions and some of these functions. So if you go online, for instance, let's go online and go to Postgres, for instance, you check out, say, Windows, Windows functions in SQL, can be specific in PostgreSQL. Okay, let's go to their documentation. So these are some of the Windows. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? I'm saying they're using it in examples, but I was thinking they'll just call them out. Windows function. Okay, so basically, right, this is what it is. A Windows function performs a calculation across a set of table rows that are somehow related to the current row. So trust me, even when I read this, I didn't understand what it meant. But like I will have to carry out an explanation before you can see it. So it's when you see it, you understand, okay, this is what they are trying to say. So let's look at a Windows function. So, but an example, you may have come across over partition, sometime, within your queries or stuff. But let's just, carry out one example here and see. So let's look at, say, you want to get the first payment made by each customer, for instance. You see that these are questions that you cannot just answer with your regular query alone. You have to use something like this Windows function to be able to answer it because it involves some hierarchy. First payment made by each customer. Okay, so let's see if we have to determine that. So if we have the table of interest, in this case now is our customers table. All right, so here, now this is selecting all from customers and I have all of this information. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select. Meanwhile, I have my payments table as well, right? That I'm joining. So let's see, I'm selecting all. I'm going to select all from customers. So let me use that. Now, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to include what we refer to as subqueries, right? So I'm going to say, I'm going to select. So let me put this here. All right. So select, what am I selecting? Customer. So I'm selecting my customer number. I'm also selecting, so payments is going to come from my payments table. Let me see. So select all from payments and S. So sorry. Right. So payments is coming from my payment table. So what am I getting from payment table? I'm getting the payment dates. Then I'm getting the amount that is being paid. Now I'm getting that, and then if that is done, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use a Windows function, which is row underscore number, and I'm going to, over, that is partition it by. So what am I partitioning by? I'm going to partition it by customer ID, customer number in this case now. Now, customer number, and I'm going to order by. So, customer number. Now, customer number. So if I do that by customer number, so I'm going to partition by customer number, or partition by customer number and order by, no, sorry, I'm going to order this by payment dates, not by, so by payment date. So payment dates, all right. So by payment date, and then yeah. So if I do that, this will be, let's give it an alias as maybe RN, right? If I do that, I'm going to say, where am I taking this from? So I'm taking this from my payments table with an S. And so this forms the, this is the first part, right? So this is a subquery. Now I'm going to say, I'm going to call them first payments, right? So first, let me just put it here. First payment. First payments. Where, so I say RN, that is equal to 1. So I'd already given an alias here. Let's see how this works basically. Okay. So if you look at this, what you want to see, or what you will see here, let's look at I'm ordering by payment date actually. So the question says first payment made by each customer. So if I look at this customer, look at 103, 112. Okay, so 112. So this is the first. Let's look if we have any instance of him again. No, we don't have any other instance. All right, so this is the customer. Okay, these are just the first payment dates. Okay, so we don't have, like, we're not repeating them to see the ones that, other payments that are not first payment. So we, because of this where clause we put here, okay, so it has limited the information to just one. So what we have here is the customers and their payment dates and the amounts that they paid and the first, dates of those payments, which is these dates that you have recorded here. So guys, basically this is what the most we can do for tonight, because our time is fast spent, but we have a practice challenge. So I'm going to drop this. So you see that I'm going to drop this what's it called, this file, so that everybody can have it. If you're on the group, you have access to this, and then you are also going to try to answer as much questions as possible. So if you have if you're able to get it done, excuse me, you stand a chance to intern with us, right? And also they are going to announce other things on the platform as well. So, but I would want you to participate. So we have like practice challenge of about 10 questions. So if you have this, just go through it, okay? And let's know your feedback. Also, a feedback form will be shared with us on the chat, on the group, on the chat. So I want you all to go through it, give your feedback, and let's know how today's session went. All right. So that's all from me. Thank you so much. And this class is recorded, so the video recordings will be shared. And I'm going to hand it back to Chisholm. All right.
All right. This was a great one. So without wasting much of our time, I don't know, I just want to hear from one or two persons. How was the session? How did it go? Were you able to at least get something? Let me hear from you, please. Wisdom, are you there? Wisdom, are you there? Glory, Glory, please, can we hear from you? Please, just don't want to waste much time. Just tell us like how the session went so that we can move on.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening.
Chisom, please, I didn't get you. You said I should do what?
Okay, I was trying to like hear from people like how was the session? How did it go? Were you able to grab anything? Was anything new to you? You know?
Yeah, I think it was an awesome section because I'm not quite familiar with Postgre server, so it was quite insightful for me. And I look forward to learning more tomorrow.
Right. Other person, let's just move. This is 8 o'clock already. Gloria, can we hear from you? Ogochukwu, please unmute and just tell us something, please. All right, if nobody is saying anything, we're going to call it a night. So tomorrow promises to even be more interesting because we are now going to visualize some of the queries we have, done today. We are going to now visualize it tomorrow to form a dashboard. So tomorrow promises to be more exciting. I hope to see you tomorrow. Thanks for coming this night. So see you tomorrow, guys. Bye. All right.